Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
In the last few years, Ozempic or Mounjaro managed to make millions of people lose massive amounts of weight with seemingly only mild side effects. More than 1 in 8 US adults have tried the drugs, and for the first time in history, the country's obesity rate actually fell. At the end of 2025, the WHO added GLP-1 drugs to its essential medicines list for diabetics and released guidelines on how to use it for obesity. For the first time ever, we have a medication that reliably, quickly, and seemingly...
Chat, that's actually a pretty massive stat. Like, if something was increasing, and they've been doing so for many years, and then there's a turning point, that's a pretty big deal. Like, that is a pretty big deal. I want to see the actual graph.
Safely can make people lose weight, sometimes massive amounts of weight. But as with most things related to nutrition, health, and weight loss, these medications are controversial. There are many aspects to GLP-1s, but we'll focus on one today, the potential medical revolution these drugs could mean for obesity, one of the most deadly chronic diseases of our time that over 1 billion people suffer from and that remains largely unsolved and underfunded. It turns out GLP-1 drugs are the first effective medical treatment for obesity in medical history. The obesity trap. In 2025, more than half of Europeans were either overweight or obese, plus 1 in 3 children. And in many countries like the US, Mexico, Chile, or Saudi Arabia, the numbers are even worse. Today, this kills almost 4 million people each year, and if trends continue, by 2050, 1 in 3 adults on Earth will be obese, and half of humanity will be overweight.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
The word obese, most people think of the extreme ends of the spectrum, but this is not correct. It's not very helpful that the definition of obese is a bit vague because bodies are pretty different. So it can be a BMI of over 30, your waist to hip ratio, or a body fat percentage of over 25% for men and over 32% for women. In the end, obese is a medical term that doesn't judge how you look.
I think body fat percentage is pretty good. You can go pretty good. And I think you want to check visceral fat versus subcutaneous, for sure.
But if you have an unhealthy amount of body fat, how did we get here? For most of our history, food was scarce. So when our ancestors found a calorie bomb, binging on it was the best of ideas. The more sugar, fat, and salt, the better. Our brains are wired to love these foods. They bring pleasure, enjoyment, and mental release. This helped us survive in a world where food was the most important thing to worry about each day. And then the world changed overnight, and suddenly our modern food environment hijacked our biology. Food is a product now and has become cheap, calorie-dense, and hyper-palatable, which means it's been engineered with addictive levels of sugar, fat, and salt, making our reward centers go ballistic.
I mean, think about that. We went our entire life being hunter-gatherers, like our entire existence, you know, like what, 300,000 years plus, just as a modern human, right? As a modern human, even before that, you know, just surviving. How recent is it that we had an abundance of food and calorie-dense foods? Really? And not only that, ultra-tasty calorie-dense food. Holy fuck. So then you think you're putting like hundreds of thousands, not millions of years of evolution against this sharp fucking change based, like, I mean, it's like not enough food, just surviving. So it's like you're talking about a graph, right? Where this is how many calories you had access to a day, right? Calories at the top. And it was like, you know, this. And it zooms out, right? It zooms out, goes along, zooms out again, goes across, right? Goes across, keeps going. And then there's this one little period, right? You are here. Okay, you are here. Where is that? Like, I mean, you could maybe even say like 10,000 years. I mean, I don't know, depending on what you know, society you're in. Maybe you could say 10,000 years. It's not the period of time we're talking about is not long. It's inconsequential. And then bang. Right? Bang. Calories. Bang. That's actually I'm using too much distance, aren't I? I'm using too much. It's far more like a fucking upward. It's basically like vertical. I need a smaller paintbrush. I need a smaller paintbrush. 1 pixel. This is what we're talking about here. And it just went up. It's basically a vertical line, actually. Honestly, I'm going across too much. Just doubled it, tripled, quadrupled it. However many you have exit, like right now, chat, on a minimum wage job, the amount of calories you have access to, like we're talking is unlimited, bro. This shit is we're talking unlimited. Okay, wait, look at this. Unlimited. You can literally gorge yourself on a minimum wage job to the point where you are sick and ill every night because you cannot eat anymore. If you're eating like, I mean, you have to just eat rice. You know, you could just buy like, I mean, noodles, right? Minimum wage job, working 8 hours a day. You could have at least 15,000 calories from noodles a day. We're talking, that's how insane it is. You know, so you think, well, how the fuck are we supposed to deal with this? Well, spoiler alert, we can't. With these modern inventions, we have to have modern solutions. It is what it is. It is what it is. Out of touch. It's not out of touch. If you were to buy the value pack meagering noodles for something like 15 cents a pack total, each one of those packs of noodles has like 300 calories. You are insane. You physically cannot eat those noodles. You would die for sure. Quality is greater than quantity. Well, yeah, but that's not the argument. The argument I'm making is this: you have access. Throughout our entire existence, our species' entire existence, they have had limited access to food. Hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years if you go, pre-modern humans. Okay? To now, where you effectively have unlimited. It's not unlimited, but like you can only consume a finite amount of food before you die, right? So you can eat as much food as you want. And that has just happened recently. So how are we supposed to, this fucking slightly evolved ape, supposed to adapt to this? Spoiler alert, we really can't. We really cannot.
With joy, about half of the products in a US...
Okay, the places that are starving, chat, are due to infighting. And it's basically civil unrest, and they're just killing each other. Any place that can actually get food, it has food. The places that are like rife with corruption that you can't get food to them because you try give money and aid, and then they just steal it all basically and take it all. So you can't. It's one of those things where, they're starving. The reason people are starving nowadays has got nothing to do with the fact that we can't get them food or cheap food. It's the fact that there's these corrupt states going to war with each other, fucking killing each other, just taking as much as they possibly can. That's the issue.
Grocery store are ultra-processed, and many are labelled in ways that are deeply misleading, like the serving sizes on packs of chips. Marketing strategies like value pricing and constant food ads stimulate us to eat more. So most people overeat regularly, sometimes without even noticing. And this is very subtle. Most people don't get overweight because they massively lack self-control. They just eat a little bit too much over a long period of time. Just a small...
Donor betting. I'm not donor betting. Oh, okay. Let's bust out. Let's see what an AI thinks. I'm interested to see what AI thinks about this. Let's grok it up. Let's just... You want to grok stun like me right now? I'm going to do it. I've got $100 billion. Let me end world hunger for a year. I can do that, right?
No, you can't. Your $100 billion would cover a solid chunk of the estimated $40 billion a year needed to seriously tackle global hunger, on paper. But here's the brutal reality. You rich, delusional fuck. Even if you dumped all that cash into cash transfers or food aid, in the worst spots, places like Sudan, Yemen, or parts of the Congo, warlords, corrupt officials, and militias would steal a big fucking portion of it.
I rest my case, retards. So shut the fuck up. It is 100% a corruption, civil fucking war, logistics issue that cannot be solved with money. There is not an issue with food. You have unlimited calories. You're retarded. Anyone is saying, people are starving to death. We don't have unlimited calories. Shut the fuck up. You're retarded. You do have access to unlimited calories if you live in the first world country. I'm literally creating the dog shit retard chatter's argument that there's not enough food to go around the world. There absolutely is. It's just corruption. Dog. TLDR. There's just greedy fucking bitch asses who have control, who will take it, and they will use it to enrich themselves, and they don't give a fuck what other people suffer. That's the reality. Okay, that is the reality.
Excess, like the equivalent of half a Snickers over your maintenance calories per day,
slam my thumb.
compounds to almost 5 kilograms or
Yeah, get
10
back.
a little bit. Most people don't get overweight because they massively lack self-control. They just eat a little bit too much over a long period of time. Just a small excess, like the equivalent of half a Snickers over your maintenance calories per day, compounds to almost 5 kilograms or 10 pounds of fat after a year.
What? What? That's some bullshit. I suppose that shows you how potent reducing your calories by 130 would be, right? Or, because then you go to maintenance and then reduce it by, 260, and now you're losing 5 kgs a year. Ooh, shit. But still, that's some bullshit. Half a Snickers? That's like an apple and a bit, bro. That's crazy.
Compounds to almost 5 kilograms or 10 pounds of fat after a year. This is how most people get obese slowly, bit by bit. Since being overweight...
That's how I operate, by the way, just to be clear. If I'm not actively, trying to lose weight and dieting and just fucking out here, going, okay, I need to eat less, I need to try to do more exercise, I'm in a constant state of gaining weight. There's people who can't do that. They're trying to put on weight. They want to mass and they want to gain. Bro, I'm natty, Chad. I don't want to brag. Naturally, my default state. Don't want to brag. I'm in a mass gaining phase. Kind of big dick.
Weight is also shamed on top of being unhealthy. We try to fix our overeating behavior with all sorts of, behavioral methods. The world is filled with diets and healthy habits campaigns, but if we look at the results, just telling people to eat healthier foods and to move more does very little in the real world. Most people gain back most weight they lose during a diet within a year or two, and often gain more afterwards. Often through little fault of their own, because once you do lose weight, your body's also working against you by trying to bring you back to the fat baseline it was used to. Really, the only reliable way to do it is a lifestyle change. Not a break from calorie-dense food, but a lifestyle where you eat it only occasionally or not at all. Which is not just very hard, but also feels like saying no to some of the best things in life. Finally, there's simply hunger. A really strong...
Get this. I have 2 meals a day, bro. And it's just chicken, rice, broccoli, and carrots. Okay? Get this. And then I have 2 protein shakes, and that's it. That's all I eat. And it's dude, somehow, I was losing weight, and now somehow, I think I must have just slowed down my activity levels, which is why I got my step tracker to find out how inactive I actually am. I've stopped losing weight. Somehow. After months and months of losing weight, I've just stopped. It's just and I'm legitimately eating just rice, chicken, broccoli. So, but no, that's some bullshit because I want to keep losing weight. Oh, so now it's okay, I need to either reduce my food more or do more exercise. Now, on the weekend, I do occasionally. Yes, occasionally I will have a pizza. Or I'll occasionally have a burger on the weekend, okay? I will occasionally have a pizza on one pizza. But I've been doing that during the diet the whole time. Okay, and I only have a few slices, so...
And a hard to ignore signal from your body. How hungry you are is genetic, so just through bad luck, you may experience a lot of food noise and think about eating a lot. And to make things worse, in many people who get overweight or obese, their hunger signal becomes dysregulated. Not necessarily permanently, but even after losing weight, it can take a long time before your hunger adjusts downwards again. And this is exactly where GLP-1 drugs interact with our biology. Your hunger.
What's their sponsor? Let's see what their sponsor was there.
About the information you consume, a mission we fully support. They curate news articles from across the globe, adding context on political bias, gives you 40% off an unlimited access subscription, and directly support.
Scan the code, guys. Ground News. Let me get it up for you. You can scan the code, guys. Look, Ground News. Apparently, it's good. Every single channel and their mom is sponsored by this place now. Which, honestly, it does. Do you think Ground News seems net positive to humanity? It probably does. It sounds like, I've never actually gone on there and looked at it, but the advertisements are pretty good. It says, hey, look, we present to you the bias of each news outlet so you can see what the actual stories are, which sounds pretty damn good. because people are giga turbo biased and they aren't able to like think for themselves nowadays. So maybe a website like this could help. Who knows?
It's our channel. And now, back to losing weight. Your hunger is hormones. Many eating behaviors, eat now or later, chocolate or vegetables, are actually governed by an orchestra of hormones that are not within your control. You're not hungry in the evening because you decide to be or because this is when your body needs energy, but because your body releases certain hormones. And it turns out your fat is one of the major regulators of this orchestra. If you're overweight or obese, the excess fat is throwing your hormonal orchestra out of tune. This may make you more hungry or push you to overeat more, creating insulin resistance that causes type 2 diabetes and so on. We made a video if
This is especially visceral fat, by the way. Like the visceral fat is the most hormonally active shit that cooks you the most. Like subcutaneous, less bad. Visceral, turbo bad, especially for the hormones.
Details. But there's one specific hormone that plays its tune quietly in the background, even in obese people. The glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1. It's one of the hormones your body releases after a meal. It tells your pancreas to release more insulin to keep blood sugar in check and slows down your digestion to keep food in your stomach. And in your brain, it increases your feeling of fullness and being satisfied, curbing your appetite. These effects are usually modest. Once in your bloodstream, GLP-1 disappears in barely 2 minutes, its song quickly fading away. So one day, scientists had an idea. What if we made artificial copies of GLP-1 that play the same song but louder and much longer? A GLP-1 signal that stays in your body would boost insulin and silence appetite. The first artificial GLP-1 was approved in 2005 for diabetes and in 2014 for obesity. But
Where did they get that shit from? Where did they get it from? Didn't it from like some fucking small like rodent or something? Didn't they extract it from like a beaver or something? Didn't they? What was it from? Whenever they got the first one, some lizard thing, like some stupid shit.
Evolution came with semaglutide and tirzepatide, Ozempic
Came from a Komodo dragon. That's crazy, bro.
and Mounjaro. Really powerful GLP-1 agonists that play their songs in your bloodstream for up to a week. They send out a loud and steady signal that dials down your appetite 24/7. You still enjoy food, but you feel full and satisfied much sooner, making it easy to not overeat.
Dude, this person looks so happy, bro. Look how happy they look in this video. What the hell? I need to start doing GLP-1s now, dude.
And since the song never really switches off, you feel less hungry throughout your day, making you eat less often.
Dude, just take Ozempic and you cures your depression, bro.
How intensely you feel hunger is largely genetic, so especially people who suffer from food noise, a constant urge to eat, feel a huge psychological relief from the drug.
Okay, yeah.
Finally, their body stopped screaming at them. Suddenly, you're dieting without expending willpower, without really thinking about it. It feels magically effortless. By changing your biology, a drug changed your behavior.
Yeah, but chat. Okay. Everyone knows this is cheating, and cheating's bad, so therefore it must be bad. Am I right, guys? Yeah, cheating, it's cheating. So cheating's bad because it's not ethical. This is unethical build. Unethical build. Now, see, that's stupid as hell, right? The reality is this. What's the outcome? If the outcome is you lose weight and you go from being morbidly obese to then eventually get a healthy weight, that's obviously massively, you're going to get rid of so many diseases and issues. It's going to be so much more positive than negative. And then, what is life outside of just making a bunch of choices that, have opportunity costs? That seems like a good choice to make if you are rotund as fuck. It just seems like a great choice. Right. But then it's there's a guy, because you always see these haters in chat who say like, yeah, but these guys are all gonna die because this is a drug and it's bad and you can't do that. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Well, look, show me the evidence. And they'll go, yeah, but you can't do that because that's bullshit. You cheated. Like, why are you being a hater? Why are you being a hater if it's actually working and there's not some big downside? At the end of the day. Now, for whatever reason, it's because I saw those guys in chat before and I was like, oh my God, these guys are so cringe. But then I was watching this video and I'm like, man, this is kind of unethical, kind of like they're cheating. Like, no willpower and they just lose weight? The fuck? It's supposed to be hard, man. But then is it supposed to be hard? Because throughout evolution, it wasn't hard. So, like, the rest of the time, it's just, so maybe it is a modern solution to a modern problem. No free lunches? Well, you say that, right? But there are just straight up there are crazy little exploits in physics and reality that we use all the time. And like, if this fucking GLP-1, GIP, and these even ones that if they can do these, and there are no downsides or very limited downsides outside of like a little bit of stomach upset or something, what's your point to invalid? What do you mean, like vaccines, bro? Like, what the hell? That's like a full-on exploit. Think about that. There's like you say, there's no free lunches, except like look at certain vaccines that's just we've eradicated, like things like polio. And we've eradicated, look at various mechanics that we abuse, like satellites going around the Earth that are effectively just constantly flying towards the Earth, but then it's fucking rotating so that it never hits the ground. So it's just like, and now we have these things that are orbiting around us, which we can use to communicate. We're abusing like physics. It's a free lunch. It's literally a free lunch. We don't have to keep propelling it up or something. There's all sorts of free lunches, bro. You say there's no such thing as a free lunch. No, there literally is. There literally are free lunches. What people in chat are saying, it can't possibly be true. People in chat are saying, you cannot have a good thing. There has to be an equal downside. It's just not the case.
But, is this a good thing? Miracle drugs. On the weight loss side, these drugs are incredible.
I think the issue is, right, people take this shit and then they don't do any exercise. And they don't fix their bad diet. And then they lose all their muscle mass. And then they stop taking it, and then they regain fat with less muscle mass, and now they're even more metabolically sick, and their bone density is shit, and then their face is super like that. That's what happens, right? That's what happens. So like the trick is, if you're gonna do one of these things, you've got to go to the gym at the same time, right? Or take anabolic steroids.
Incredibly effective. In 3 months, you can lose 10% of your initial weight. 3 months later, over 15. And after a year, you may reach more than 20%, a level of weight loss that used to only really be achievable through bariatric surgery. In other words, GLP-1 drugs make excess weight melt away like nothing before. We can't stress enough how unhealthy obesity is, causing everything from diabetes to heart attacks and cancer. So the consequences for health are stunning. Treatment with semaglutide cuts your risk of stroke or heart attack by 20%. 17 months of tirzepatide crashes your chances of developing diabetes by 66%.
I mean, that's insane. That's crazy.
They also reduce sleep apnea, improve kidney and liver function, lower inflammation, cut cancer risk, and may potentially slow Alzheimer's. They might even boost fertility, as obesity often disrupts hormones and increases complications during pregnancy. And there may be...
But there's some evidence pointing towards people, even like certain addictive tendencies like smoking and gambling, like people are doing that less on these drugs, which that to me is both cool, but at the same time, wait, is that like depressive then? Why is that? Are they seeking out experiences less? Like what's going on there? Which is a bit that's a bit scary.
Some of these benefits are a direct result of weight loss, but intriguingly, they sometimes occur regardless of how much weight has been lost, and some have been seen in patients who weren't obese to begin with. We don't know why yet, but it seems like turning up the GLP-1 signal is synchronizing the whole metabolic orchestra, restoring a balance between brain, gut, and body. And, as if that weren't enough, GLP-1 drugs may also quiet other cravings. They seem to reduce the use of alcohol, nicotine, cannabis, and opioids.
That is insanely good, by the way. Like, that's insane. Like, what the hell? That's
large.
And this is what I've heard as well. When I say I've heard it, I've watched some videos from the RP. He's a PhD holder, Mike Israel. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen his thesis on like locomotion or something. I don't. It's great. It's great. Good stuff, guys. Anyway, he was talking about the same shit, and he was showing these studies that had basically stopped people from smoking, which is just like, what? That's like a huge negative thing that people want to stop doing. Like people are addicted to gambling, gamble less. That's an awful thing that people do constantly. But then it's like, wait a minute, if you gamble less, then do you know what made me think of? Well, like, wait, if it stops you from gambling, does that turn you into more of a cuck though? Because think about it. What have you got to do being like a person who runs a business? You got to gamble all the time. What do you got to do in life? You got to take gambles. Well, I'm thinking like, well, what if it can have an effect on these things that's super addictive? Well, then that's sus to me, because does that turn you into an NPC or something? You know? Then again, if you're addicted to a fucking substance, you're an NPC. So being not addicted to is also maybe, wait, is it less NPC to be not addicted? Maybe it's less NPC. But I don't know, man. Like Twitter. Do you know what? I don't go on Twitter. Like, bro, I went on Twitter the other day. And, like, for the first time in a long time. And it was just, like, so every single thing. Rage bait, vague posting, trash. And then I was like, fuck, what the fuck am I doing on this trash website? I was like, I'm glad I've not logged into this in months. I'm glad I've not logged, because it's fucking trash, bro. It is fucking trash.
Trials are underway to confirm these effects. If the results hold, they could become something unprecedented, real anti-addiction drugs. But of course, there are side effects. Most commonly nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. Not fun, but usually harmless and fleeting for the vast majority of patients. More serious stuff like pancreatitis, kidney problems, or gallbladder disease do happen, but for well under 5% of people. So it's pretty risky to take these drugs without medical supervision, and in extreme cases, they can land you in the emergency room. While these drugs are not really that new, since diabetics have been using them for decades, because now millions of people are using them, we might discover new side effects in the coming years. Apart from this, the main
5% is quite a large number, but yeah, it was a host of things.
downside of GLP-1 drugs may come from their greatest strength, rapid weight loss. If you don't actively check what you eat, taking these drugs is just an unhealthy crash diet. Any steep calorie deficit requires resistance training and plenty of protein, or else you'll lose a lot of muscle along with the fat. That's harmful at any age, but especially after 40, when building muscle gets harder and the risk of falls starts to rise. So, while these drugs change your biology, they don't do all the work for you. Staying healthy still requires you to adopt healthy habits. In the end, the same is true for these drugs as is for any other diet. Without a lifestyle change, you either have to use the drugs forever, or you'll probably gain the weight back. After about a year, the weight loss slows down and eventually stops in most people. At this point, you usually stop using the medication. If you use that time to change your eating habits, you have a really good chance of keeping the lost weight off. But about 25% regain a significant chunk.
That's nothing compared to if you look at the stats on diets, by the way. Like that's diets something like 87%, or the complete overwhelming majority of people regain after a diet, like a standard diet.
And some
25% is
20% put back on all of it. So for many, maintaining the results may mean staying on the drug forever. Is this a bad idea? Well, we don't know. The newest generation of drugs is just too new, so there's no long-term data. The first GLP-1s from 2005 haven't shown major issues. Based on what we know today, it seems pretty clear that living with obesity is much unhealthier than living with drugs. And to be crystal clear, this doesn't
do drugs. Yo, let's go. Bro, I love that though. I love the idea of, guys, I'm telling you, just wait till they release a drug that is all upside and no downside. It's coming. I'm going to be on that shit. I'm going to be on that shit. Okay? Just wait. I want that so bad. It's not Adderall. Adderall has tons of downsides. Adderall, like, long-term effects are real bad. You should not be taking Adderall. Dude, absolutely. Biotech, bro, the future. We can hack all sorts of systems. Why can we not hack our own systems? And that's the reality, is that we have been doing that, and people have been massing it, and we're testing all these crazy drugs, and we're getting to the point where the opportunity cost is like, obviously, like, this is very good if you have X, Y, Z. Soon it'll be a one where it's like, oh yeah, this just makes you much better than baseline. Bang. All upside. That and I will be on that shit. I'm just, come on. Can they hurry the fuck up?
You've been biohacking with copium for years.
Can you hurry the fuck up and make that shit now? I want steroids with no downsides. God damn it. Where are the steroids with no downsides? Fuck.
Doesn't mean that these drugs are for everyone. If you want to lose a couple of pounds,
Retta is not that. Retatrutide is it's GLP-1, GIP, and then it's got another element that speeds up your metabolism. It's just a weight loss drug. It just speeds up your metabolism a little bit more, so it's even more effective. That's it. Which I at the same time, it's untested, and I wouldn't do it if I was you, because you're retarded. If you're taking that shit, you're taking a big risk. You're taking a big risk, and you're crazy. Just do Tren. I'm not gonna do Tren. Tren is every single one of the steroids and anabolic steroids and all the Trenbolone, all the various ones that works via that pathway. That grow, they enlarge your heart. They make you fucking die of heart attacks. They fucking sterilize you. They all to ruin your skin. It's all bad. Make you go bald. So why the fuck do you? I want to take a drug that makes you live longer and be stronger and better now, right? One that's like slows down brain aging, increases alertness and sharpness, like extends lifespan, extends health span. I don't want to take one that makes me die sooner. You are retarded. If you are taking some shit that makes you die sooner, you're a retard. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why do you want to die sooner? Coffee extends your life. Coffee is good for you. Anyway, guys, yep.
but
You're retarded. You're retarded. That's why. And by the way, after watching 700,000 podcasts on coffee, TLDR, sad egg, filtered coffee is best. Paper filtered coffee is best. You should be paper filtering. Unfortunately, for maximizing health benefits, paper filtered coffee. It's to do with it basically stops these certain molecules and oils getting through that have been shown to have certain carcinogenic properties that, like, don't get me wrong, still having normal espressos is good and it's still net positive for your health. But it's actually superior and elevated benefits if you use filtered coffee. So, which is why I'm now filtered coffee Andy. Yeah.
Healthy and have no chronic disease, these drugs were not made for you. You really should go the traditional route first before you start injecting drugs.
So you ever admit you're wrong all the time if I'm wrong, which it's one of those things where whenever I'm confidently correct
What AI
about something.
says is so vague and
What, dude? What are you talking about? When I know I'm correct, right? Then I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm wrong here. I want to say, yeah, I'm right here. Shut the fuck up. And then people in chat are like, no, you're not. You're making that up. You're full of shit. And then I'll go and I'll do an unbiased confirmation, and you can see, entirely unprompted, it's stating exactly what I'm stating, verbatim. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I will go as far to strawman it in the opposite direction to, like, really try and make it agree with me to argue Twitch chat's point. And it still will disagree with me, which is like, these AIs are super. You can really kind of gaslight these AIs. So I try and gaslight them in the opposite direction of what it should be, and it will still be vehemently disagree with me. Which is one of these things where, dude, guys, reality is coffee is a superfood, mate. Deal with it. Deal with it, bro. Deal with it.
Using it to get...
And yes, caffeinated coffee is superior to decaf, although decaf does impart a lot of benefits. But caffeinated still actually, so even just caffeine, basically standalone, is brain protective. Spoiler alert.
To unhealthy amounts of low body fat is definitely not a great idea. In a nutshell, the best thing these drugs do is to remove the pressure of intense hunger and food noise, to give you a time window where you can change your habits. You still need to change your habits though. No drug can fix that for you. Conclusion and opinion. A recent study modeled what would happen if millions of US adults who are obese or overweight got GLP-1 drugs for life. In just 2 years, about 50% of all obesity in the country would vanish.
What?
Over the years, it would prevent 26 million cases of diabetes, 13 million cases of heart disease, and 5.5 million premature deaths. million cases of heart disease and 5.4
Bro, dude. So, like, okay, obviously, everyone dies eventually, right? But, like, I mean, how much lifespan are we saving here? Bro, that is so insane. Like, think about how important. Okay, if 10 people die, right? Think about how big that is. Like, 10 people died at, like, somewhere in your city. That's crazy, right? 100 people died. Insane. How many people died in the Titanic? How many people died in the Titanic? Like 1,000? 500? 2,000? How many? 5,000? How many people died in Titanic? 1,500 people. Bro. They're probably all old and fat, right? So this is 3,666 Titanics. What I'm saying is, dude, they're like, dude, you're on Titanic, bro. You're on a cruise ship. It's fucking, dude, this is 3,666 Titanics. That is insane. If you were like, yo, you can press a button and stop 3,606, like, every single day, chat. Wait. 3,666 divided by 365. For 10, you can press a button, and it will stop a Titanic tear disaster happening every day for 10 years straight. Like, just let that sink in. And you save so much money, even as a greedy POV. Say you don't care about human life, right? And you're like, fuck them, fuck fat people. You let them all die. Ha, rip bozos. Ha, 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 ha. Okay. Think about this. Your tax money, well, you had to have, actually, wait, do you even pay healthcare money? Whatever. Your fucking insurance premiums will go down. They will go down.
$5 million premature deaths, which seems like a pretty good thing. And new drugs that are in final trials promise to work even better. Defeating obesity suddenly feels within reach. Right now, the biggest obstacles are actually supply shortages and high prices, which make these drugs inaccessible for many who actually need them. Patents for semaglutide and tirzepatide will expire soon in many countries, and prices for them will collapse as a result. In the long run, increased production and plummeting costs seem almost guaranteed. So, should we just inject obesity away?
Yo, are patents good or are they bad? Like, the ownership of an idea. Like, nah, you can't do that because I fucking had that idea first, bitch. And then I'm not really using it, and we can't actually supply the whole world, so fuck you, even though, like, millions of people will die. Millions of people. Shouldn't you be able to override a patent if millions of people are going to die? Like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, we patented it. Like, dog, we got the cure to, like, this awful disease, but we got the patent here. So, yeah, you can't make it. Now, we can't supply everyone, so fuck you. We're just going to let millions of people around the world just die because we own this intellectual property. I feel like you should be able to just ignore that shit. If you can prove, like, you're going to save at least, like, 10 people's lives, like, this is like a threshold. Boom. You can just override it. Like, someone invents, like, the next level safety belt, and it's just, like, a lot safer, easier to put on, faster, and it's just better, and it just stops people from dying. It's just insane, right? The most insane safety belt ever made. But some fucking company in Germany's got the patent here, and it's like, yeah, fuck you. No one else can use it. And as a result, 2.5 million people are going to die every year. Like, we should be able to say, fuck that. Fuck you. I'm just going to take that idea because it's a great idea. And you can attribute it like, yo, we stole it from this guy because it's a smart idea, really good idea. But ultimately, we're going to save lives by just spreading that shit. I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't be able to, certain things shouldn't be able to be owned. I think maybe like artistic stuff that has no bearing over whether or not someone's going to live or die. Like if it's just like, oh, some art bullshit, you should be able to copyright it and patent it. Fair enough. Okay, but if it's got practical, implications, like it's something engineering based that could like be a better bridge design or a better building design or a better, some medical field, you should not be able to do it, right? Am I crazy? Maybe that makes the whole system collapse though if they can't make profit, and then you get less cures. Because that is kind of, imagine if you spend billions of dollars into research and you finally figure it out and then everyone just copies it after you've just researched it. That's an issue, right? Yeah. They need to be compensated, but they shouldn't be able to say no one else can use it. If anything, they should be able to just say, hey, you can use it, but we get a percentage of the profits. Some sort of half-half, some sort of like half socialist, half capitalist system. Yeah. Oh, it's obviously, yeah, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it now. I'm just trying to think it through. But yeah, I mean, it's just insane the fact that the reason why all these people are dying is because they have the patents and people can't make it. I think China says fuck you and just makes it anyway. But yeah, that's kind of based from China.
Well, for now at least, it seems that there are few downsides. Although, please don't listen to internet videos and talk to your doctor before you make any decisions for yourself. It's also important to remember that while these drugs are immensely helpful, they are not magic.
Yo, do you want to hear a hot take, Chase? Dude, how many doctors are like retarded? Dude, there's so many doctors that, bro, they ain't urged shit that's going on. There's doctors out there that think there's no fiber in coffee. For example, right? There's doctors that could be in Twitch chat right now, and they think there's no fiber. Like, what I'm saying is this, right? Some informative YouTube channel. Like, I would trust a Kluge Stat video on like medical advice more than a fucking random doctor at the Wanganui Hospital who is incapable of fixing my fucking arm that has been cooked for the last 10 years. I'm just saying, like, how the fuck, like dog, straight up. I'm just saying, like, these doctors are like, yeah, well, yeah, you're probably just stressed out, bro, and that's why your elbow hurts. Yeah, you need to, like, just work less, and then your elbow will fix. No, it's a mechanical issue. I can feel the nerve slipping. It's fucked. Someone needs to do some surgery on it. Yeah, you need to just sleep a bit more, bro. It's like, why? I'm just saying, dude, like, I mean, I don't know fuck all, and that guy went to school for like 5 years. But I swear to God, they haven't had like an update to what they've learned in the last like 15 years. You know what I'm saying? They haven't had they haven't had like a patch note. There's been no patch notes, is what I'm saying. Like, my mom was a nurse, and she was like spouting off all shit about how like fat's bad for you. And I was like, and she is like a registered nurse, and this is what she had been taught, and this is what she's operating with. And I'm like, Mom, I learned that no, fat's not bad. Like, you can actually eat fat. No, fat's bad for you. That's what we got taught at the nursing school. You can't have fat. And so we'd have all this, and it's one of those things where, I feel like that same shit is happening with doctors. They're just out of date. They need to update to their patch notes. They need an update to their patch notes. Like, yeah, I've never heard of that. What is this? I've never heard of this this GLP-1. I don't trust this. Yeah, no, we're not going to go with that. Yeah, I'm going to just say we put you on a juice diet. The doctor wouldn't do that, but, like, they'll do a caloric restriction or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying, right? Young dogs is actually better. Dead ass. Well, that's just because they have more recent, up-to-date knowledge, right, I feel like. Shouldn't doctors have to go back and get training? Get new updates. So anyway, the point that I'm making is that I swear to God, there's fucking people who are like on the pulse, on the leading edge of the research, getting the raw dog updates on the pulse, and they're releasing videos. I'm gonna trust that guy more than I'm gonna trust some random ass doctor here in my hometown. It is what it is. It is what it is. Straight up. So he's like, go to ask your doctor. Bro, every time I've gone to my doctor, dead ass, they just give him the most dog shit, trash advice ever that does not help and never works. just some boomer who has no idea, who just spouting the same old shit they heard like fucking 35 years ago.
They make a hard thing easier, but it still requires you to change your habits and put in some effort. They can gain us the time we need to fix the root causes of obesity. But it does seem the future just got a whole lot healthier. Our latest limited edition pin is here, kicking off the new Cosmic Time collection. It's an homage to Halley's Comet, the cosmic traveler that's been visiting Earth for millennia. It only returns around every 75 years, but we captured it in a super sparkly rotating pin. Only 10,000 exist, and each one is individually numbered.
FOMO, bro. FOMO. FOMO. Fair enough, though. I like it. Okay, FOMO. Yep. Only 10,000 exists. Clue video. Pretty good video, though.